What's up, y'all? We are back for Power Season 4, Episode 4. We're in this together. Many things still getting a lot worse, but Ghost is still struggling in jail, but kind of starts making some headway in his favor. Not doing so well on the legal side with the whole Proctor and everything, but we'll get into that. So, first, the episode starts out with Ghost. He's working out at the jail. Tommy has spent the night at Tasha's, and he wakes up to a text from Keisha asking him where'd he go and will she see him later. Now, Keisha done latched on to Tommy, and it's not that serious with Tommy, but it's bad, and we're gonna see how it goes. But um CO Charlie is still just fucking with Ghost down at the jailhouse, and he goes, puts the weight bar down on Ghost's neck, choking him. And I'm still just curious to see what this animosity is about. I hope it reveals itself, because clearly CO Charlie has some sort of vendetta against him because he thinks he's a cop killer. So I don't know what that's all about, but rest in peace, Charlie Murphy. Um, the prosecution back at the round table, they're arguing about what happened in court with the traffic stop, and because of Angie, everything the DNA got thrown out, so they can't use the DNA, which was pretty much the only solid evidence, almost solid evidence that they had. Can't use that. So they're in this whole discussion about what they're going to do next, their next move. And Angie's still talking about she wants justice for Greg, or whatever the hell it was she said. I'm just over Angie. But the consensus is that they all want the death penalty for Jamie. Mop pulls Angela aside, like after Sandoval and Nutsacks and all them leave. Mark is talking to Angie and was talking about the deal that Angie offered Ghost, and he's like, what would you have done had he accepted the deal? She don't follow the rules and this and that, and it's like Mark is like, that could work out to our advantage or whatever, because the gun that we found at Tasha's is clean. Nothing came back on the gun at all. So I need you to take another crack at Tasha. Do it, go ahead, do that, and fuck you. Go do what I say do. Okay. So then we have Ghost, Proctor, and Terry at the jail. And this is when they tell Ghost that Dre and Julio got pulled in by the feds. And Ghost is like telling Terry they didn't say nothing, whatever, they told him I'm stand-up guy, right? And they get to talking about the gun that Sandoval planted, and they like, yeah, that's the avenue that we're gonna go. We're gonna try to get the gun thrown out. But Terry's like, well, are you sure there's nothing else we need to know about this gun? Because if they connect you at all, then we're fucked and you're gonna get the needle. Ghost is like getting upset, because Proctor's like, look, don't take this personally. But Ghost is like, what the fuck you mean not take this personally? This is my life. And Terry's like, see, you can't get upset like that, because that's just gonna peg you as the angry black man, and it's gonna play right into the prosecution's narrative. So I need you to keep your cool. I still am on the fence about how I feel about Terry. I know a lot of folks ain't really feeling Terry. He's not my favorite, but I somehow really think that he's going to be super critical to what's happening to Ghost. And we'll see later on in the episode that he in fact is going to be super critical, but I think it's something that he's going to add to this whole mix that no one is really going to be able, on the defense side, no one's really going to be able to do it out. But that's just my opinion. I'm just speculating. Let's keep it moving. So Terry leaves the room, and Ghost and Proctor are talking, and Ghost wants Proctor to get the drop on Marshall Clyde Williams because something apparently happened to him in that weight room. Remember, that's what CO Charlie was saying when he was choking Ghost out about the cameras. The cameras ain't seen nothing for a year, and somebody else died in here not too long ago. So that dude is Marshall Clyde Williams, and Ghost wants Proctor to investigate that and see what the deal with that is. He also asks him, did Tommy drop the money? Proctor's like, yeah, he did. And Ghost also wants Proctor to find out about Roberto Saletti, Terry's involvement with the Saletti murder, because this is what Ghost is working on to get Terezi off his back and to get Terezi the fuck out of his pockets. So, of course, Proctor agrees to go along with it. And it's like, cool, I got you. And Ghost is skeptical about Terry. Proctor's like, trust me, trust us. We all in this together. Ghost is like, I trust you, not him. So that just goes back to what I was saying about how Proctor and Ghost have this relationship, and now that they brought this outside dude in, Ghost ain't feeling it. All right. And over at the money drop for the crew, they collecting the money for all the dope they selling, Cristobal shows up, and he's back and forth with Julio about what happened to Domingo. Cristobal's like, your man Tommy on some bullshit for doing that to Domingo. Julio really don't know how to handle it in that moment, but he like, all right, chill out. I'm gonna talk to Tommy. Cristobal's like, basically, you get no respect. You gotta earn respect, and you don't have none. But Julio tried to hold his own in that moment, but you could see he was wavering a little bit within himself. He wasn't very confident in that moment, but he held it together enough to get through it. Andre doesn't show up for the drop. Okay, so Tommy and Proctor are talking about Terezi because Proctor is relaying the information from Ghost to Tommy about what he needs for Tommy to do. Drop this money off and get the scoop on Saletti, the Saletti murder or whatever, and so he can get this information on Terezi. And so Tommy was like, nigga, you want me to lay low, but you asking me to be the errand boy for this bullshit? Okay, whatever, fine, I got it. Whatever, I do it. Cool. So, and he tells Proctor not to worry about it. All right. Now, Tasha and Angie. Now, I said before that they gonna have a lot of face-to-face interaction this season, and to my knowledge, y'all let me know in the comments, but I don't remember before now them having this much face-to-face interaction. So they're over there and they're outside the little coffee shop talking. Tasha's like, okay, so you don't have the DNA, now you need to fuck with me. Okay, Angie now wants to play we on the same side, and she's trying to appeal to Tasha's emotions about the shit that she went through with Ghost, saying, I went through the same thing. We went through the same thing. Lonely nights worrying about where he was, sleeping with both of us. Tasha's like, bitch, do you want me to slap the fuck out of you? For real, because you working on it. Like, you beyond working on it for real at this point. So she wants to play that angle. But did y'all notice it looked like for a second Tasha's wheels were spinning, like she was actually thinking about some of the stuff that Angie was saying was hitting home. But we all know Tasha is 150% loyal to Ghost, and in her mind she's like, bitch, please, I ain't got nothing for you. And also in that exchange, Angie hips Tasha to the fact that she offered Ghost a deal and Ghost didn't take it, with the whole spousal privilege breaking that thing, and how had he accepted the deal, that would have put Tasha and the kids in the clear. And Tasha had no idea, of course, because Ghost didn't mention it to her. So that was a surprise to Tasha. Um, and I don't know. We gonna see what happens with that. All right. So then we got Tariq and Slim. So he gives him some money for the caper that Tariq helped him pull last episode. And then Tommy is rounding up the money. And again, no Andre. They tell him, Andre didn't show up. And Julio decides to holler at Tommy about the Dominican Shrek, right? Domingo, that he ran over with the car. This nigga Tommy called him the Dominican Shrek. I was about through. Like, that Tommy is something else. So Julio's like, you fucking choking me by my nuts with this shit that you're doing. And Tommy's like, nigga, fuck you. He deserved it. He needed it. I put it down. This shit ain't my problem. So, and the fact that you asking me all this shit and bringing this to me, now you're a problem for me. So, fuck you. And then he says, Tommy asks Julio about being in with the feds longer than Dre. And Julio's like, I ain't snitching. Tommy's like, I didn't say shit about snitching. Look, just do your fucking job, okay? So that was that. And then Tasha and Keisha, they over at the apartment, and Keisha's all like, what man you had staying over here? Because Tommy was there and he was on the couch. And Tasha's like, wasn't nobody here, that was just Tommy. And immediately Keisha gets in her feelings. Keisha's like, are you sure that's a good idea? Like, with Ghost being locked up, would he want Tommy over here? Keisha, okay, you're fucking Tommy at this point, which Tasha knows nothing about. So I don't understand what you're doing asking Tasha questions about Tommy staying over there. I know why you're asking Tommy questions, but Keisha's asking Tasha questions about Tommy because Keisha done fell in. And that's just all there is to it. So she tells Keisha about the deal. The fact that she didn't know that Ghost was offered a deal by Angie. And Keisha's like, well, goddamn, that's fucked up. And Keisha also tells Tasha, you need to be looking out for your damn self. Again, Tasha's wheels are spinning. And over at Truth with Dre and Julio addresses Dre about him not being at the drop for the money. Dre's like, I was taking care of some club business, whatever. Gives him the money and is like, okay, we cool. I ain't got no beef with you. We cool. Which was a lie. Andre has something. Andre ain't fucking with Julio. And it's getting worse. So he tells Julio ain't no beef or whatever. They going about their business. And Julio is like, what is this you telling Tommy about me being in with the feds longer than you or whatever? And Andre lies. Andre's like, I ain't say no shit like that. But he did. We know he did. Because he made sure he did. He made sure he told Tommy that. And then Tasha goes down and sees Ghost at the jailhouse. And is like, you better act like you know. Okay? Because this bitch talking about you offered her a deal. You didn't tell me nothing about it. You didn't talk to me about it. Nothing. And says she also offered me something. In which that just, she can testify against him and have immunity, I believe. But she's like, I ain't take it, but I'm gonna need your ass to act like you know, because we're in this together and you need to start acting like it. Angela and Mock are talking, and she's like, it's no go with Tasha. I struck out. She's loyal to Jamie. I got nothing. And Proctor, that's when they get the notice that Proctor filed a motion to suppress the gun. Okay. Cristobal and Dre at Truth. And they start talking about Julio again. Now they both have this something or other about Julio that they neither one of them really fuck with Julio like that. So in this moment we see something emerging. I don't know what's gonna happen with Julio. I don't know what's gonna happen with Andre, but I don't see it for neither one of them. Like, somebody, we all know somebody gonna get killed. One or two people gonna get killed this season, but Bailey's already gone, and we'll get to that later. But I think it's gonna be either Andre or Julio. Somebody else gonna go down. Anyway, so they talking, and Andre's interested in Julio fucking up. Cristobal gives him the rundown on that. And then back at the house, Raina finds the money in Tariq's room. This nigga Tariq goes off on Raina yet again and telling her to get the fuck out of his room. I can't with this damn Tariq. And the way he's treating his sister, it's just terrible. Donovan is on the stand in court. Proctor is cross-examining him. And Proctor basically sets it up and says that Donovan is the one that is framing Ghost. And Donovan gets pissed off. Donovan's like, you know what, nigga, fuck you. You the reason we can't catch the real criminals. And he just went off because that really set him off or whatever. Sandoval's slimy ass still in the back watching. But again, Proctor just basically set it up and was like, Donovan, you're the mole. You set Ghost up. And that's how that went. Over at the Terezi house, Sammy answers the door for Tommy, lets him in with the money. Now, y'all see how Tommy finessed Sammy into giving up that information? Like, he didn't just come out and be like, hey, was you involved in the Saletti murder? Of course he wasn't going to do that, but the way he did it, you know, he was like, yeah, so who, you know, basically like, what you do in the streets? You know, I heard all this about you and whatever and this and that. So what you do? What was your biggest job? And he starts running down the list. Oh, you killed Castellano outside of Sparks. You hit the Gotti kid. I mean, tell me, what's up, Roberto Saletti? And then his reaction, Sammy's reaction, spelled it out. All right. So the money's dropped off. Tommy leaves, and they get the phone call. Terezi calls. Later on, Terezi calls and is like, okay, did you get the money? And was that him? Sammy says, yeah, that was him. And Connie is like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Who is him? You talking about that kid that was here earlier? What do you mean? Him who? We don't keep no secrets around here, so what is this all about? Sammy's trying to reassure her to go chill out. So somebody said that Tommy might be Terezi's son. That'd be a crazy ass twist. So anyway, back with Bailey and Proctor on the phone. They're talking about the direction they're going to go as far as the defense. They have these parallel strategies, and they're like talking about getting together and pretty much discussing the strategies, not necessarily discussing the strategies, but Bailey tells Proctor about the Ruiz recording. And they're like, you know, if we use this, then we can use this if Ghost flips on Tommy. But that's going to cause Proctor to have to choose between clients. So they agree to meet privately at Proctor's place. Okay. Terezi and okay, yeah, this was the part of the episode that I just talked about with Terezi, Tommy. I'm sorry, not Tommy. With Terezi on the phone, Sammy, and Connie. That's what that whole after. That's what happened after the phone call with Bailey and Proctor. Tariq and his little friend from the school are going up to the friend's crib to set up for another caper. They go in and he texts Kanan the entry code again, and they go in, they take the shit out the house or whatever, right? And let's see. Proctor and Tommy are again talking, and Tommy wrote down all the information he got from over when he did the drop with Sammy for Terezi, and he hands it off. He hands off the note to Proctor, and Proctor also tells Tommy about the meeting that he had set up with Bailey. Tommy's like, "Nah, fuck that. I want to be there," right? Proctor's like, "Oh hell nah." But we see later on that Tommy does end up there, and that was the end of Bailey. But we'll get there in a second. So at the jail, Proctor tells Ghost that he was able to get CO Charlie transferred elsewhere, which is a good thing for Ghost because he'd been giving him hell since he got there. He also tells Ghost about the Ruiz recording and that he's meeting with Bailey later on. And again, Ghost is like, "I'm not flipping on Tommy, you know, so just get that shit out of your mind. I'm not flipping on Tommy." And he slides the info to Ghost on Terezi. Tasha's over at the school, and she's talking to the lady, I guess the principal of the school or whatever, about security because of the incident with the paparazzi and the pictures. The principal is like, "Yeah, well, none of the other kids have a father that's on trial for murder." She was bitchy, but you know, whatever. Tasha handled it. And then also about the tuition check, saying that bounced. So we come to find out later that all the assets have been frozen, which is why the check bounced. But the principal is like, "If you can't get that payment to us by the end of the week, your kids are going to get suspended." Things are steadily getting worse. Keisha, her shop gets shut down now because the judge was like, "No gun, you can't use the gun." So I'm thinking that with the shop getting shut down, this is the prosecution's new strategy or whatever, maybe. Because they don't have the DNA, they don't have the gun, right? Because when they were in court, it ended up coming down to Proctor getting thrown off the case because of the conflict of interest, and the judge also says no gun. So that was that. And then back with Tariq and Kanan, they still over there partying, and Andre shows up with the money and tells him Truth got shut down, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pay you. Kanan's like, "Well, that's a personal problem, basically. Fuck you, that's a personal problem." And Tariq tries to hit the damn weed and is choking. I need for Tariq, just go back. I don't know, just somebody get him, because then we see the boy, they set the boy up trying to get him some pussy. Oh God. Anyway, Proctor, Bailey, and Tommy are at Proctor's house. Bailey plays the recording again, and we all know what was on there about what Tommy said about killing Lobos and everything. But there's another piece where it implicates Tommy in killing Ruiz. They got that on tape also. So Tommy is lurking in the shadows. Once that final piece of the tape plays, Tommy comes out and he stabs the fuck out of Bailey, kills Bailey, and basically throws Proctor in the mix with everything. So um Proctor can't go back and say, yeah, Tommy did it or whatever. So Tommy was going to take the laptop with him with the recording on it, but Proctor convinces him to let him have it because he was like, ain't no telling how many copies that might be. So Ghost lets him have the laptop and he goes on about his business. It's like, I'm glad I ain't have to kill your ass too. All right. And and then Tommy in that whole scene, Tommy is like, so this was Ghost's plan, and Proctor was like, well, nah, he knew about the recording, but that's why he broke into Greg's house to get it to protect you. So Tommy's like, shit, okay, whatever. So we gonna see how that develops as well. Back at the jailhouse with Ghost and Terezi, Ghost is finally like, no more of this shit, nigga. Like, look, because Terezi asked to meet with Tommy. And Ghost is pretty much like, hell nah, no more money, no more threats, because I know who you are as well. You participated in the Saletti murder, and but Terezi's like, well, you know I got consecutive life sentences, so what are we really doing? Like, that means nothing. But Ghost is like, oh yeah, well, what about the new trial? You know, your wife Connie, I'm sure you wouldn't want to put all that stress and everything. And Terezi grabs Ghost by the throat because, you know, like I said, Connie is his Achilles. So don't you dare say nothing bad about no Miss Connie, okay? But it causes him to back off. So no more money, no more threats. Fuck you. I keep saying that, fuck you. In court, that's when we find out the assets have been frozen and the conflict of interest and everything, and Proctor gets taken off the case. And Proctor's like, y'all only doing this because I'm whipping y'all asses. But nonetheless, Proctor is no longer on the case. So that's also when Judge Dadbod throws the gun out. And back at the jail, of course, Proctor has to go tell Ghost that he's no longer on the case. And that's another part of things just getting worse. Like, Ghost thinks he's joking, but he's not, of course. So no longer is Proctor on the case, and Ghost has to deal with that. Now he has to deal with this Terry Silver that he fucking can't stand. But it is what it is. He's his man from now on, so that's what it is. Proctor goes over and knocks on Angie's door and is telling Angie, like, bitch, he's innocent and he did all of this shit for you. Like, his stupid ass did all of this just for you, only for you to turn around and stab him in the back. So just because your feelings got hurt. So Angie, of course, is being a bitch to Proctor and is like, you're full of shit, get the fuck away from my house. But Proctor says it's not his gun. It is not his gun. So Proctor goes on down the hall, goes on off about his business. But Angie decides to text Daryl and is like, I need the surveillance footage. So this right here, she's sitting down at her computer and she's looking at the surveillance footage, and she sees that Sandoval was the last person to review the footage, and clearly it wasn't Jamie that hid the gun, because you see like the detail from the items that was set up on the wet bar in the video and in the picture. Like, none of that was touched. So Angie discovers that and she's like, well, god damn. Uh, so now what? And now what, Angie? Now what you gonna do? So you done got this man locked up in prison on death row, and you see that the one piece of evidence that y'all thought y'all had, you don't have. And you also see that you're sitting amongst the snake that planted that shit. So what you gonna do, Angie? What's gonna happen? um I'm interested to see. There's always so many moving pieces in this show, so if I missed anything, please leave it down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on so you can get notified when I upload. And tell me also what y'all think in the comments. Tell me, do y'all have any speculations on what's going to happen going forward? How do y'all feel about the relationship between Keisha and Tasha once, because they going to find out that she and Keisha and Tommy been doing it. So y'all let me know how y'all think Keisha and Tasha's relationship is going to go once all of that is out. Also, let me know how y'all feel about Terry. Do y'all dislike Terry? Mostly I've been hearing that people don't like Terry, but y'all let me know what y'all think Terry's going to bring to the defense now that he's the one man on the job. Of course, Proctor's going to be standby, and Proctor's not going anywhere just because he's not on the case. But let me know what y'all think. How y'all think Tommy gonna react when he finds out that Kanan is still alive and Andre has known about it this whole time? What's gonna happen with Julio and Andre? It's so much to this show. This show is so intricate and I love it, but you gotta pay attention. You can't really miss a lot because you'll be lost. So anyway, y'all, I've talked long enough. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for kicking it with me. And like I said, leave your comments down below. Subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on. Beautifully Coy. I'll see y'all next time.